What's the worst part of depression? I take issue with the crossover in language between mental conditions and emotions. Being anxious about something is not the same as suffering from the condition anxiety. Being depressed isn't the same as suffering from depression. It's what causes people to confuse the two and tell me to think their way out of it. Because a typical person can recover from and manage feelings of depression and anxiety. If you have a condition, you can't do that. Everything becomes a monumental task that requires so much more effort that you just don't have any more because of the depression. Even getting out of bed can be so hard that sometimes you might just sit right back down. But it's okay. If you do get up, you realize that you don't have any interest or urge with your usual hobbies. Everything seems boring. You load up a game, get to the title screen, then just lose the will to play it and just shut it down. So then you feel like you're wasting your time and have nothing to do. You know where you end back up about an hour later? Bed. The loneliness despite being surrounded by people and the guilt because you know that they love you and just can't accept it. You cannot know what's causing it, and better yet there could be no specific reason that causing it. It's a never-ending battle for something you can't quite identify or just fix. Feeling like everyone is getting things done except you. Also people not understanding. I get it, it's difficult to understand if you haven't been through it, but telling me to just make an effort is devastating, because I am. Being blamed for being depressed, so you never open up about it to anyone and you spiral till either you become numb and work up, or well you're no longer in need of working up. Sure, the space is getting better, but not enough respect is given when a person does finally get strong enough to say and mean it. So much wasted time. Suicidal thoughts are the darkest part of depression. Everyone who has had depression can confirm. When someone guilt trips you into not killing yourself. Just fuck you. Yes, it feels like a chore, but you know what I tell myself to get me though? That one shower every day. Would I rather feel sad and dirty, or sad and clean? The answer, of course, is sad and clean. The shower is worth it, even if it's only a 1% improvement. Not knowing what's actually making you feel bad. Sometimes it can have more tangible causes like chronic illness. So now you don't just have a lot of pain that you deal with all the time and isolation. You also have depression too, except it's perfectly reasonable to have that given the circumstances. So it's not really a matter of meditating more or thinking yourself out of it, or changing your lifestyle. It's literally that you're in pain all the time, more than many can ever imagine. And now you have mental pain too. Losing your partner, or even multiple partners over multiple relationships. People can't accept that they can't help you with the suffering you are experiencing every day. One day you look back on your relationship and realize that the way you act makes you hard to love. By that time your partner already realized and is starting to distance him/herself. You don't want to lose the person, and you know you could do better, but your mental health is not allowing you to be a better partner. Anhedonia. Other people. The hopelessness. I no longer have hopelessness ever since I got sober over 3 years ago. I rarely get depressed anymore, but occasionally I do. It's not debilitating anymore. It's sort of like a headache that I know will last a few days and then go away. It's literally not a big deal anymore, whereas before it was life-threatening because of the hopelessness. People thinking you're lazy, moody and unfriendly, when you're dying inside. It becomes so debilitating that you withdraw, can't function normally or support yourself. It pushes people away. It's like being in a waiting room for a doctor's appointment that's never going to happen. Everything you do is intensely boring. It's not necessarily sadness that hurts you, it's the inability to be happy that does. The cyclical nature of it. I am depressed, therefore I want to do nothing, therefore I am depressed because I've accomplished nothing, therefore I want to do even less, therefore hurting the people you love. Losing a friend that took your depression personal. That people misconstrued it very easily. A lot of people don't take it seriously and that leads to consequences. Especially in children, a kid having depression is pretty much looked at as a kid having a disability, and not a disorder. The relapse. You start feeling better, things seem to start working out, and just when you are becoming hopeful everything goes back to square one. How inescapable it feels while you're in it. Self-propagation. Most of the time you are depressed because you're depressed and you know it's illogical, but your brain is like you're worthless because you can't do anything, so you should just give up and not do anything. Deleted. Pretending to be okay around people. I hate interacting with people so much, especially strangers, that it actually exhausts me. I'll start yawning after about 30 minutes. I no longer like anything. As a teacher, it's been really hard these last couple years. The passion is gone, I don't care anymore, I stare at their faces and just don't care. I don't feel alive. I don't feel like I even exist anymore. Having depression and PTSD has been very difficult. Affording therapy is not even a possibility. Even sliding scales are not in my budget. When you decide that you'd rather remain depressed than expend the energy it requires to come out of it. Or even more so, that you don't deserve to. Once you have it, there is a chance it will resurface occasionally for the rest of your life. Not showering for a really long time. Having moments of clarity, feeling like you're going to turn your life around and tomorrow will be different. Then tomorrow comes, and it's the exact same as the day before and you've never felt worse. The turn my life around thoughts usually happen in the AM. Lack of motivation, then people saying you need to shower. Knowing that this is a common issue with several fixes and still not doing anything about it because you're too depressed to call anyone or leave your house. The problems with executive functioning. It causes future problems I have to solve, which is unfortunate due to the limited mental bandwidth I tend to have while depressed. At this point, my answer has to be, the hurt it causes loved ones. I literally am getting by day to day. I have no energy, no room, nothing left to give family or friends outside of my household. I'm too exhausted to even check in with friends. I know this has to have caused confusion and hurt. Elle recently went a month without showering. And didn't care. So that sucked. But overall, all of it. The way it keeps pulling me back from any progress towards life, goals, recovery, relationships, career, school, fitness. Anything and everything. Sex. How a single day can feel like a year, especially in winter, when you have nothing you have to do, nobody to visit, and no motivation to do anything. Pacing in circles trying to convince yourself just do something, anything. Hearing your brain drown out any motivation with 1,000,001 excuses of why it's better to sit and sulk on the couch than to do anything else. Everything you see or hear starts to become crap. South Park nailed that with Stan's depression episode, so trying to even watch a show or listen to music is just exhausting since you can't find any engagement in it. Scrolling on the phone for hours for any kind of amusement as if caught in a loop. Looking up at clock after going through all these thoughts and emotion only to realize only 10 minutes have gone by and there's still another 12 hours to this day before bedtime. For me it's the apathy that makes me not really care about getting better. I feel useless and pathetic all the time because I know my situation and my regrets are all my own fault, and I know there are things I can do to be better, but no matter what I always feel so apathetic I just never do. Even saying this, I can't go out and make myself better, I just wallow and then regret it later. Not the worst part, but something I hate dealing with is the invalidation from others. You're not depressed, you're not depressed, you just need to. No Becky, I wanna constantly kill myself and I have really bad intrusive thoughts you would be scared of. Trust me, I don't just need to walk it off. After a while people stop caring. So you're left with all these things you can't talk to anyone about because they're tired of hearing it, and you have to bottle it up. Your mental illness becomes an annoying inconvenience rather than a very real medical issue. I lost a lot of people because I couldn't get better, because I couldn't get access to the help I needed so I could get better. and to them it was always my fault for not trying hard enough, so they got tired of it and left. Ironically, now what my therapist says is that I need people I can talk to. But there's no one left, they all moved on. The depression. Time loses so much meaning. Something traumatic can happen this morning and it will feel so far away by bedtime, but as I close my eyes, something traumatic from when I was 12 will feel so close. If I'm waiting to do something in an hour, I just freeze and wait an hour until the time comes, like I don't have the time to do anything within that hour. But if something needs to get done in 10 minutes, I act like I have all the time in the world and get started on something. The thoughts. Not realizing when you're spiraling into it, then looking back when you're fully in the depths and going, why couldn't I have caught this happening again, this time? Knowing no one will believe you if you tell them, so you keep it to yourself and make the emptiness worse. Not knowing what you need.